ERC, quality service since 1972. Repairing TVs, console stereos, electronic musical instruments, pinball machines, arcade games, and more. Call 836-0454.
You've clicked on the Weather Xtreme video. I'm ABC 3340 meteorologist Brian Peters with you on this rather fallish morning for August in Alabama. What a pleasant day we have in store for us today. Here's a look at our Clanton Skycam. Remember, the Skycam network is only available from ABC 3340, and a beautiful sunrise down there. And here's the view I've got as we look out over Mount Cheaha this morning and look out over the southern end of the Appalachians. Just a beautiful day, almost a little chilly this morning. Our surface pattern this morning shows a high-pressure area over the eastern half of the country. That old frontal boundary has finally been pushed far enough south to get out of our area, but look at that large mass of clouds and thunderstorms in the central U.S., something we're going to have to watch over the next several days, and we could actually be in somewhat of a wet pattern, believe it or not. Here's the 500 millibar pattern overlaid on the water vapor imagery, and you can tell from the satellite part that it's certainly much drier in the atmosphere, and boy, the humidities are just going to be spectacular today. But we have that large cluster of thunderstorms in the central U.S., and notice the northwesterly flow, something we're going to have to watch carefully over the next several days. Temperatures across the country just a tad on the cooler side. Notice, though, it's still hot in the southwestern United States, but just a hint of fall. Sometimes in August we get that, a little break that gives us the idea that fall's not too far away. Here are temperatures across central Alabama, and look at that, 50-degree values. Isn't that wonderful? 55 up there at Fort Payne, 60 at Tuscaloosa and Birmingham. Just absolutely spectacular. Tropics are quiet this morning, and I mentioned that a large cluster of thunderstorms in the central U.S., and there it is on the national radar map, something we're definitely going to have to pay attention to. Storm Prediction Center, of course, is discussing that area. You can see the C text, but the primary risk of severe weather will be back in the northwest and over the eastern Great Lakes. The eastern Great Lakes area shifts over to the mid-Atlantic coast on day 2, and that other area shifts into the northern central plains, and of course we keep the C text in the middle of the country, so some possibility there. By day 3, the severe weather threat seems to be concentrated on the Dakotas. All right, here's the 06Z GFS model running. Here's what we're dealing with and what we're going to be dealing with for the next several days that's going to keep meteorologists hopping. We have a good trough on the eastern half of the country, and we have a little disturbance. And you can see that little disturbance over the Kansas-Nebraska border, and that little disturbance is coming through the flow and producing an MCC, and that could be a problem for us because those things can sometimes just dive southeastward and become a problem. But in the meantime, I think for today we're going to be dry. Tomorrow the trough begins to sharpen up a little bit, and we do have a little disturbance in Arkansas, and that's reflected there. And I think by tomorrow evening we're going to have to be concerned about the possibility that we might see some showers and thunderstorms as moisture increases. That little disturbance moves down into Mississippi primarily, but you see the spread of it, and of course mesoscale features like outflow boundaries and all will help determine exactly where the rain is here. But on Monday it looks like we have some pretty good chances for some rain, as we do on Tuesday, and we can see that little short wave still over the Mid-South area and reflected with a good area of rain. And again, I think probably Monday we have a pretty good chance, but I think Tuesday we may have an even better chance. So certainly a little bit wetter, which is kind of unusual for this wonderful weekend that we're experiencing. By Wednesday, the trough is still over the eastern half of the country, and the disturbances are still there. They're a little bit weaker, and that's going to make it a little harder to identify exactly where we're going to see some storms. The trough begins to inch a little bit further to the east as it gets closer to the east coast. We're still in that northwesterly flow, and you can still see those disturbances. And notice that big disturbance over kind of central Canada, not the one over the Great Lakes, but the other one. That one is going to become a bit of a bowling ball. This is Friday at 500 millibars. While the East Coast trough begins to sharpen up again, we've got that big bowling ball, and that could bring some more showers and thunderstorms our way on Friday. By Saturday, that big bowling ball has closed off as the East Coast trough begins to get out over the Atlantic. And by Sunday, it is out over the Atlantic, and that big bowling ball is beginning to at least weaken a little bit. But indeed, we're still in that northwesterly flow And weak flow as it is, though, it could produce some MCCs, and you can see the GFS is hinting at one there. All right, we're just going to quickly go out into Voodoo Land, and the big thing to note here is that the ridge stays in the west and the trough stays in the east. It seems that the ridge is being undercut there by the GFS, but this is out on Friday the 22nd of August, so that's a long way out. Well, listen, we appreciate you tuning into the Weather Xtreme video from ABC 3340. I'll be back with another look at the weather tomorrow morning around 8 o'clock or so. Certainly hope that you have a great Saturday, and by all means, stay warm. God bless.
Weather.